thank you for those who are gathered here tonight to celebrate their accomplishments or their child's accomplishments, their students' accomplishments. Lord, we pray for those that you would continue to guide them and bless them in their preparation for their future. And Lord, we thank you for the parents and administrators and teachers that are here that have invested in our students. We pray, Lord, that you would give them the drive to stay with it to the end as the end is nearing. Lord, I pray for this board tonight that we would be able to have understanding of the issues, that we would be able to ask our questions and to stay focused. I pray, Lord, that we would make good decisions that benefit our kids, keeping them always in front of our efforts. And I pray, as usual, Lord, that you would help us to be agreeable even when we don't agree. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Show me the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You may be seated. First item is recognitions. All right, so recognitions tonight. Ms. Stowe, who do we have?
We have 4 student recognitions tonight. I will let Mr. Kinney begin with our high school UIL recipients.
So we had a lot of kids participate in our UIL academic event, but we had 3 that it's obvious they put in some extra time on their own to get prepared as they were able to finish first in their event, so we just wanted to take some time to recognize them. First, we have first place with current issues and events, Mitchell Yannick. Come on up, sir. Pose for a picture. Do we want individuals and then the group? Okay, you're just going to stand here awkwardly for a minute. Next, with first place in editorial writing, was Caitlin Durham. And first place in social studies, Brandon Weeks. Over this way, we'll be centered. Yeah, hold them open so they can see. Thank you. Thank you all for your hard work, dedication. Congratulations on your achievement.
Those may sound like simple contests, but for those of us that have the experience, what an accomplishment to have that. Those are very proud of that. Very proud.
Absolutely.
And then our next 226 is from West Columbia Elementary.
Tonight, I would like to recognize a 5th grade student from West Columbia Elementary School, Evan Casera. Evan, come on down. Let me tell you why I'm recognizing this young man tonight. Evan is a 5th grader at West Columbia Elementary School, and recently he entered his original melody composition entitled Waltz in E Minor into the 2025 Brazosport Symphony Orchestra Student Melody Challenge. Evan was in competition with over 250 other entries and was selected as one of the 3 winners. His original composition, His original composition, Waltz in E Minor, was featured at the Brazosport Symphony Orchestra concert on March the 29th at the Clarion. His melody was adapted into an original composition by a local composer, and at the concert, Evan helped Maestro Brian Casey, the conductor and director of the Brazosport Symphony Orchestra, direct the symphony as they performed the world premiere performance of his composition. Evan is the first student from West Columbia to be given this honor, and we're incredibly proud of how well he is representing West Columbia Elementary School and CBISD in the Southern Missouri County music scene.
That it? All right. We've got one more 226 award to do tonight. Cody, would you mind pulling that picture up for me? Sure. So tonight, our board president, Mr. Champagne, is ending his 21-year career as a CBISD school board member. So the oldest picture I could find what was that one. So some of you old-time board members might recognize that. But that's at one of, I can't remember if that was at the convocation at the beginning of the year, end of the year banquet. But wanted to share a little bit of history there. That's the old, again, from a board member's perspective, that's the oldest picture I could find. But Jonathan Champagne is a 1979 graduate of Columbia High School. Came back, lived, worked in the community, a lot of dedicated service. But anyway, I'm appreciative because Jonathan was on the board when I became superintendent. Right, so but yes, that's important. But much like most of the board members, I got to know you as a parent before I really did as a school board member in that association. And so there's no doubt that a lot of our administrators, we fall in love with the kids in this district. The kids are just fantastic, right? We get to love them and then we get to love you, right? So, but it becomes with the kids first. So, in thinking, I go to Mr. Champagne's office every month to sit and talk about the meeting plan and how we're going to do things. And so, as I was thinking what would be most appropriate, many, many moons ago, we gave away books to people that did extraordinary things and contributions to our district. And this is basically, it's a children's book called The Spyglass, right? And what the Spyglass is about is, if you want to go back to the Renaissance time, Old England, the castle, you're living inside the castle and you have the spyglass at the top of the castle and you're looking out and all you see is open land. You don't see what it can be, right? And so the castle, they wanted their grounds to be great. They wanted to be grounds great. And then one day somebody came along that helped them look out in that spyglass and see the end in mind. This is where we're at now, but when we're finished, where do we want to be? And so this book, I think, fits Mr. Champagne's service. I wanted to give him something that he could put in his office that would fit, and that every time he looks at it, he remembers the good times and the good things that you did. So, Mr. Champagne, we thank you, sir.
All right, Becky said we had to be up at 6:30, so sit down. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me.
All right, that's it for 226. So now,
Campus communications?
all right, so campus communications. Who we up first, Cody?
Arrow Elementary.
Me
Principal Galloway.
first. Hello. All right, so we've been celebrating a lot in this short time we've been in the month of April already. This past week we celebrated Assistant Principal Appreciation Week. And although Miss Cantu is new to Marrow, she has jumped in head first. I don't know a student in that school that she doesn't love. Her heart is always in the right place when she's dealing with them. And I don't even know how many months we've been in school, but I know how many we have left. And she has built great relationships with not only the students, but the community and the parents as well. And that says a lot about just who she is. So we really appreciate her being there. Then we had our Star Your Engines Star Pep Rally. More about the kids having fun and celebrating all their hard work leading up to Star. But as you can see, there's an obstacle course that each grade level had to complete. Several different activities that they had to go through, and you can see their peers cheering them on the right. You can go to the next slide. And then this next slide is just other pieces that happen at the pep rally. So at the end of the obstacle course, each grade level had to complete a puzzle that said, use your strategies. But they had to put that together. And those two lovely ladies at the top are Dana Wachtel and Kim Duncan. And anytime we need a party, pep rally, anything planned, they always do it. And they don't leave anything out. So we had a free throw contest, our teachers had a tug of war contest, and our kids had a lot of fun, and the teachers were definitely enjoying themselves, as you can see. Again, we've been celebrating a lot. We also celebrated Paraprofessionals Day. I know I might be biased, but we truly have the best at Barrow. We've had a lot of consultants in and out of the school over the past 2-3 years, and each time we go in different classrooms, the person asks, okay, which one's the teacher? Not because the teacher's not doing a good job, but because the paraprofessional is so involved and also working with kids directly and meeting every one of their needs. So I just want to celebrate and recognize them. That's them on the next page too. And then just a little bit of the learning that's going on at Barrow. Learning is not always sit and get, and as you can see, they have a lot of activities going on. Jelly bean graphing activities. They took their manipulatives outside to complete their math assignment, and then in reading class, Ms. Flores, one of the amplified units is about airplanes, and so they had the chance to build their own airplane, and then she took them outside to test them out to see who's flew the best and the farthest. So I just wanted to highlight those things for you guys.
Thank you.
Cool.
Principal Kenny.
All right, first, we had a bunch of our kids that were able to tour the Sweeney Chevron Phillips facility. It used to be the WIT program. It's changed to Power Up, which is centered around STEM. So we're looking at science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and this just gave the students an opportunity to gain exposure to career opportunities that they could have while building experience to consider furthering their STEM education. So we wanted to thank the Power Up program for that. We wanted to give a huge shout out to Ms. Bowman and her practicum of health science class. Every single one of her students was able to pass the National Patient Care Technician certification. So that's pretty awesome. Then we had our CHS Thespian Troop was given the designation of the Gold Honor Troop for this school year. In order to do that, to receive that award, they had to complete a leadership academy, which they did, and they will be featured in Texas Thespians Monthly. So keep your eye open for that. That's quite an honor. We had Jordan Williams, Claire Banner, and Corbin Brown went to District 29 for a UIL debate, and Claire placed 5th. Corbin didn't place, but he's a freshman, so he's got 3 more years after this. And Jordan Williams, who we had last month for her playwright, was able to place 2nd, so she'll be moving on to regionals, and so we're excited about that. She's been doing some great things this year. Our ladies golf team competed yesterday and today. They won the area, so they went as a team. Carly Miller was district champion for 4 years in a row. So we just wanted, that's pretty amazing that 4 straight years she was first place in district. I heard that she shot 77 both days, and so we're waiting to see how that falls as far as if she gets to move on or not. Kate Thoe, shout out to him. His coach wanted to make sure we put this in there. He earned a ticket to regionals, but it wasn't just that. He set a personal best plus a school record in pole vault, clearing 15 feet. So it's pretty exciting. And then not too long ago, he had his first career home run as well. So it's been a pretty eventful spring for that young man. We're very proud of him. And then we had Drake Autenreith, freshman, was a co-newcomer of the year, and Dasi Abdullah was the first team All-Brazoria County. So we wanted to highlight those athletic accomplishments. We also wanted to point out all of our CHS Students of the Month. They're nominated by teachers, and then we also, our Teacher of the Month was Mr. Miller. He does a great job working with the seniors, keeping them engaged, especially this time of the year when they're trying to check out with senioritis, but he keeps them engaged, keeps them in political talks, but also talks about what's next in life and helps guide them as more of a mentor than a teacher sometimes. But he's a tremendous teacher, so we wanted to award him with Teacher of the Month.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Principal Lasario.
All right, so band and choir have been very busy in the spring. They're gearing up for their final concerts. We have band concert coming up and choir concert, but they also competed at UIL concert and sight reading. We took 2 bands from West Brazos Junior High and earned sweepstakes. We also received 12 1s, so everything across the board was a 1. So we were really proud about that. Choir also attended concert and sight reading and received excellence and superior ratings. So Really proud of our band and choir. And at the top, you see our beginner band gearing up for their first concert. So that is just beginner band in a practice in the top right-hand corner. So big future. 8th grade science is looking at, our 8th graders take 4-star assessments. They take reading, math, science, and social studies. So science is still looking at, they're implementing using the microscopes and getting the kids out of their seats, just like Miss Galloway said, making sure it's still fun and we're not just looking at star things, keeping them engaged, keeping them learning in the classroom. So you see some of our 8th graders working on science. And then social studies as well. Blitz is something we're doing at West Brazos Junior High, where in the mornings for the first 45 minutes, we do a hands-on TEKS-based activity that the students are the experts on. So you see student leaders, they go across the different rooms for social studies or for science, and they help teach all of the different groups and really take that leadership position. And then the teachers give feedback on how well they did as far as their leadership. So you see social studies sorts in 8th grade and how they are truly interacting with their learning. And then ag, one of our high school credit classes is CTE class. They are full on spring right now, and so you see some hydroponic growing and light growing. They're capturing their own water for clean water, and they also were super excited about the eggs this time of year as they are incubating those, and we're eagerly awaiting the first one to crack. It started today, so everybody on campus is stopping by Ms. Campbell's room to check on all of the fun things that are happening in ag.
Thank you. Principal Bolton.
All right, well, in March, we held a Be a Coffee Bean themed staff meeting. In addition to laying out our STAR preparation plans, we were trying to remind the teachers to transform their environments by being a coffee bean. The teachers won door prize centerpieces that featured the reminders of the mushy carrot, the hard egg, and the transformative coffee bean. And they all left having chosen how to be a coffee bean rule that they want to live by, that they then posted outside their classrooms, which you can see on the screen there. And then they were treated to Kate's Coffee, of course, with some kolaches. And when they were left, they were challenged to share the message of the coffee bean with their students. And I thought you might enjoy the video that I received that afternoon after that meeting.
All right, tell me what it means to be a coffee bean.
To change your environment and do better stuff for the people around you. Because if you have that you can change your environment. You can play music. You can say good morning. And come on. That's not being a coffee bean. That's giving everybody a bad positive vibe. So just stay positive.
All right, be a coffee bean.
So the message of the coffee bean continues on. We're going to finish strong. On the second slide, we recognized our students who got to ring the bell for achieving their grade level milestones, as well as our hoppers, which are students who jumped from one performance level to the next on their STAR release test. On slides 3 and 4, I wanted to share with you that our 3rd through 5th grade teachers have really gone above and beyond that they've ever done before, getting ready for STAR this year, creating the hallways to look like camp, video games, and even the Olympics. They had competitions, challenges, incentives, anything they could do to keep the kids engaged and motivated and pushing strong to learn before the STAR test this year. So I'm really proud of all the efforts that they put into that. Then on the next 3 slides, I wanted to highlight that we had our annual STEAM night and our art in the park, where the students got to dye socks, tie-dye socks, engineer their paper airplanes, plant seeds, and so much more. We were sponsored on that event by ST Math. They provided a lot of pizza for our families, which brought out the families. And we had 30 ST Math board games that went home with the students as well. And ACE even joined in the fun with a family bingo night as well. It was a well-attended, wonderful evening. And then the last slide I wanted to share with you is Evan Casera at the debut of his original melody at the Brazosport Symphony concert, with his teachers and principals cheering him on from the audience. It was truly a special night for us all.
Thank you. Principal Cohee.
All right, so I know y'all have seen some of these pictures from campuses last month, but Wild Peach finally got to host our Adventure Dash Fun Run. It was a fantastic week leading up to events. We are embracing being at the primary campus. If you can't really tell, but in the Among Us costume, it is me. You can probably see by the size. On Thursday, there will be an Easter Bunny on campus too. So if you would like to come take a picture with the Easter Bunny, come by on Thursday. But the students all had a phenomenal time. I was a little interested, cautiously optimistic to how our campus would do, being that we are the primary campus, and just with some of the obstacles that it had and just the fundraising piece of it. But we did amazing. Our students and our families were able to, we raised more than our goal. So the students were able to slime me. It was cold. But one thing that I truly loved about this is that they were able to meet the needs of all of our students on the campus. So they had a sensory-friendly time slot for our 4 self-contained classes, and so all of our students were able to participate in this event. So we, again, I think other schools have already shared theirs, but at Wild Peach, we tried to do our career day very similar to Touch a Truck, very hands-on event. So we had our career day last week on Friday. So we were able to have the Brazoria County barn came, and so that's the big truck in the center. The Wild Peach Volunteer Fire Department came, the Gulf Coast Rescue Squad came, and all of the vehicles there, except for, some of them, of course, but the students were able to touch the trucks. They were able to walk in the boat, the airboat. They were able to get in the I didn't include the constables' vehicles. They were able to sit in the vehicles. They were able to turn the sirens on. They allowed our students to touch the horns, and some of them were able to talk on the speakers. The students were able to just touch all the different vehicles. One of the things that I didn't include the picture in this one, but the B-tail, one of the guys for B-tail, he got in, I don't know what it's called, he got in the lift, the bucket, and he went all the way, touched the light, and the students were just amazed. And he talked to them from up there. They came back down, and the kids loved it. So it was a phenomenal time. But Brazoria they have a new dog catcher, so sent their new dog catcher, came and showed us the cages, the crates in the back. But it was a good time. But, Ms. Hogan and Ms. Dottie from Communities and Schools, they're the ones who make the phone calls to get the companies and the people to come out. And it was a good event, a good time.
Thank you very much.
Hey, and we have chicks at our school too. Our chicks have already hatched. We have quails and chickens. We are waiting for our ducks to hatch. Tomorrow should be their day. So if you would like to come by and see any ducks.
At the end of the year, is there going to be a giveaway or what's up?
Yeah.
We have given some away already, but.
I'm a good veterinarian.
Yes, we had 7 quail, and I think because we have given some away, we have 2 left. But
Wow.
yes.
That's cool. Neat. Good job tonight. Thank you.
Students be heard?
We have a group. Columbia High School Project Graduation 2025 is here tonight. So we have some students here tonight to make a presentation. Aubrey Smith, Brady McCann, McKenna Presley, and Destiny Head. All right.
So as you said before, I'm Aubrey Smith. This is Brady McCann, Destiny Head, and McKenna Presley, and we are all part of the CHS class of 2025. On behalf of the Columbia High School graduating class of 2025 and the 2025 project graduation, we would like to thank the CBISD Board of Trustees for your support. specifically by allowing us to have the Memorial Brick Paver fundraiser during the construction of the newly designed Columbia High School. Mr. Champagne, we would like to thank you for your service to CBISD, not only as a CHS graduate, but for serving 21 years on the CBISD Board of Trustees. In honor of that service, we are here tonight to inform you that your fellow trustees want to honor your service and are having an 8x8 brick paver placed in your honor. The brick paver in your honor will read, Jonathan Champagne, class of 1979, CBISD Board of Trustees 2004 to 2025, Roughneck Forever. Thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you at our graduation ceremony on Thursday, May 22nd, 8 p.m. at Griggs Field.
Wow. Before y'all leave, can we get a group pic and get Mr. Champagne up there, if you don't mind? We need photo evidence of this.
I need to go with that first one.
Y'all want to stand in the middle? Mr. Champagne, will you stand in the middle?
Oh, sorry.
I'm being picky. All right, ready? 1, 2. Very good.
Thank y'all very much.
Yeah. Thank the board too. Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much for doing that. Very much appreciated.
Next is reports. We have the delinquent tax collection report. Mr. Mike Darlow.
Okay.
I think it's appropriate that on your last meeting, you get to hear me.
If y'all like to leave, it's a good time. If you want to sneak out, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. Thank y'all very much.
Dying to hear that report, don't I?
No, everybody's dying to hear that report.
They
Some of them have literally.
get economic class credit, man.
Exactly.
There you go. We get CTE for Mike's report. If not, we'll bring it back.
Do I have to talk a certain length of time for you to get credit?
2 minutes.
You got it. Good to see you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, John, working with you all these years.
Thank you. You too, Mike.
So just a quick update on the delinquent taxes since we were here way back in the fall. So the 24 taxes went delinquent February 1 of 25. They're not reflected in this report because they don't all officially get turned over to us till July. But on April 1st, all the people that hadn't paid their 2024 personal property taxes, your business or mobile home, those were turned over to collect, and we started working on those. In May, the tax office will mail out notices to people that haven't paid the balance of their 24 real property taxes. And they get until July 1 to pay that. And if you haven't paid your 2024 taxes on your real property by July 1, on July 1, you get the pleasure of paying the tax, a 12% penalty, 6% interest, and a 20% collection penalty. So the theory of the law is pay it because it costs you a bunch of money. Because in theory, that's money you all, if people had paid their taxes on time, you would have been able to have it, use it for what you need. But because you didn't have it, you have to be, as you will, compensated through penalties and interest for not having that money when you need it. So it's expensive. So we urge people to get in there and pay it. So for tonight, this just gives you a snapshot of what's owed. A little over $900,000 of the base tax when I prepared this report for you. A couple of categories I'd like to point out. One is deferral. I mention it every time because I think it's important for people to know that if it's your homestead, you're over 65, you can defer the payment of your taxes. It's a form you fill out at the appraisal district. And when that happens, then you don't have the worry of paying for it, but you may want to tell your family that you've left them a little something if you pass away. So then they get the bill and they're not totally shocked about having to catch up and pay a bunch of taxes. But we code those and then we don't work on them. At least once a year, we go back through that list to make sure nothing's changed. They changed the law a couple of years ago. It used to be that you had the family would have basically 180 days from the date that the person that owned the property died to pay before the penalties and interest that had been held off because of the deferral get added back on. They changed the law to now it's 180 days after the tax office mails a bill, which is dependent on when the appraisal district finds out about it to tell the tax office, which in essence has added an unknown amount of time between when the person may pass away until the bill goes out and then the additional penalties go on. I think the theory was to give people a little more time to try to take care of it. But that represents $219,000 of tax to you. In our litigation category, roughly 25%. When the letters and phone calls don't work and we have to file suit, that's how much we have in suit in their variety of categories. Many of you, I'm sure, get our email blast every Friday morning about tax sales. This month, April, we had some property for CBISD that was on the sale that sold. Each month we've had, almost every month we have property in the district on the tax sales. And people still want property in Brazoria County. And if we have to put it up for sale and we're not able to make an arrangement with somebody, it's selling. And oftentimes it sells for more. All of you that have been around for a while remember our Bar X days. We have basically sold everything, filed suit and sold everything in Bar X. At one time there were hundreds of lots, very few now. But when we do have some that we feel put up for sale, they're selling for more than the taxes that are owed. And if somebody does have their property set up for sale, we'll work with them. We had a situation with a taxpayer here that we pulled the sale because they were in the process of getting a loan. So we give them the time. I mean, our job isn't to own property, it's to get the taxes paid. So those type of activities are going on in our litigation category. Action pending, I just want to mention, sometimes there's easy accounts to collect. It's a lot block in the subdivision. There's a mortgage. Easy. People can't pay it. Lender will pay it, or we'll have to file suit. But it's, there's one or two owners, maybe a lien holder. We do have properties on the roll that are very complicated. We have one that I think we finally gotten to a point that it's going to actually get resolved and paid. Had a family was paying it, only let it go delinquent the last 2 years, and then they started to believe that they didn't own it. Well, we found out they had a probate, multiple probates in Harris County. They had sold a couple years ago hundreds of acres to the Nature Conservatory, but 58 acres they never sold. And we couldn't get them to understand, well, yeah, we still think you own it. They thought somebody else owned it. We did all the research, figured it out, gave it to them, and they go, yeah, you're right, we own it. Now we know who we need to go to try to get it paid. And then a final example, I have one that I'm trying to approve for suit, but it blows my mind every time I have to review it. It's got at least 25 heirs have an interest in a piece of property. And those are complicated. So you got to work through that, figure out who to sue, and then eventually get that property up for sale. But if I can get a tract of land up for sale, somebody will buy it. Moving on, because now I've taken more than 2 minutes. Becky's going to be upset with me. I'll skip the second one. Let's just go to the third one real quick. So this just breaks down by tax year what's owed. The largest single year is 2023. The most recent year we started last July. So we're winding down the first year collection on the 23 year. And you can see for 22 and 21 and each year prior to that, the amount and the percentage it represents to the total. From the board standpoint, the idea is harder to get, easier to get. More of the rolls in here, more collectible it is for us to get that money in the door for you. When it gets to be this old, we've got some deferrals, we've got some property we can't figure out who owns it. Every once in a while, we have a mobile home that it ain't there no more, but the taxes were there. So a variety of things that go on in that category, but the newer the delinquency, the better. When I come to you after the weather changes in the fall, we'll add the 24s on there to give you a sense of what's owed. So this is always moving. Lastly, I'll take you to the very last pie chart. You're going perfect. And I know Jonathan would love for me to go through every one of these in tremendous detail right now. But, so I know you all know this, but for the, you levied for 23, like $17+ million, rough number of taxes. Last July, when we started on this 23 year, out of all that money, you had a little over 800,000 left. You collected about 96% of your base tax by July when I started. Just to sneak ahead for 24, it's not on here, but your levy went up $21 million. And you've got right now outstanding through the end of March, roughly $2 million. So when July rolls around and I give you this next new chart, you'll probably be somewhere in this range, maybe a little higher. the more taxes you levy, obviously, there's still going to be a proportionate amount that's going to go delinquent. It doesn't mean you have a delinquent tax problem. It's the natural evolution. As you're growing, there's always a percentage going to pay. I'm real happy with this. If you just flip back to 22 for 1 second. So last year, when I did that whole cycle, I only got 55%, which to me was not the best year I could have. Through March, we got it all the way up to 76. But then look at 23, less money, 653. And then when you come to 23, you upped the percentage to a little over 800,000, but we've already got 60% of the 23. You just click one more. Wait. Yeah, I'm already at 60%, and I've got 4 months left of my collection cycle. So sometimes it's a taxpayer that had never been delinquent before, they go delinquent. Sometimes it's timing. So it can be a variety of things. But it's something that we look at all the time and try to make sure that we're getting as many accounts paid for you as quickly as we can. And let me say, Jonathan, it's been a pleasure working with you all these years. I guess our careers have been together this whole time that I've been working for the district. You've been sitting right there. I greatly appreciate all the times that you moved me up and let me,
Question for you on 2016 and beyond, those things. Is that ever written off because you just can't get them or whatever?
Personal property, when it's 10 years old, gets written off.
Okay.
Real property, 20 years.
Okay.
Gets written off. Before then, it's out there.
Still out there looking at, okay.
Trying to collect it.
Okay. Mike, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for all y'all do for our district. Y'all do a great job getting this money.
Questions y'all may have.
Be safe going home. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Take care.
Are you gonna still talk to me when I see you at a golf tournament? Or you gonna just ignore me now?
I'll still give you a ball.
Okay. That's where I was going. I just didn't want to ask in front of everyone. Okay. Maintenance report.
Mr. Williams.
All right. Well, there's not a whole lot, excuse me, not a whole lot going on as we were getting closer to the end of the school year. You know, we're trying to gear up for graduation, make sure we're getting all those things in order so the ceremony can go as usual without hitch. That aside, I wanted to let you guys know that the E3 project, all the lighting and mechanical upgrade has kicked off. Matter of fact, if you drive past the football field, you'll see some comments out there with a lot of their materials and supplies stored in it. I actually handed over them some keys yesterday afternoon, and they're working nights. So principals, you know, you may or may not notice, other than just different lights, things coming in the next morning because they're cleaning up as I go and not leaving a mess, working out of sight, out of mind, weekends, nights. So that's in effect. We had a kickoff meeting for the roofing project a couple of weeks ago that we're going to start with junior high. That'll start taking place closer to the end of May, beginning May, end May, whatever. I got so many dates in my head, I can't keep up. Following that, we'll jump over to West Columbia Elementary. We should be finished well before school starts. While Peach Water Well project, we're still waiting on TCEQ approval on that. It's still hung up in its paperwork. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going in maintenance. It's just, business as usual.
Roofing, are they getting us a quote for high school and
Yes,
barrel and stuff?
I've reached out. They're starting to get square footages and everything together. And at some point in the near future, we're going to come down and have some walks to just kind of get up, get their eyes on it, reevaluate it, and kind of get us some.
Do they do the infrared or whatever to look at moisture yet, or that happens at that point in time?
That'll happen sometime between here and then.
Okay.
No, it hasn't happened yet, but it's on the horizon.
Questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, with that being said, Mr. Champagne, Maintenance Department would like to give you a fairly well. We appreciate all the dedication and hard work that you've given to this board and to this district. Make our lives easier, the rest of you board members just as well. So thank you very much, and Godspeed to you on your next endeavor.
Thank you, Justin. Commissioner Miller's here, so we don't have a safety report tonight, huh?
Chief, I don't think, Chief, is Chief back there? You got anything, Chief?
I don't have anything other than my report. That's in the same sentiment from maintenance report. Appreciate everything you've done for us.
Thank you, Chief.
We'll be seeing you around for sure.
That's right. Instructional report.
All right, in board book, I think is attached. This is our last round, so we did take our last round of release tests. back early in the year, February, I guess. Yeah, late February, early March. Right. And so that's where we're at. Principals are here if you have questions. Other than that, STAR has started. We're off and running. I think you haven't tested yet, have you, Jeff?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Those 1 and 2 are done, and bio is today.
Right. So, well, everybody but Kogi's off and running. Kogi, right? So, meaning at the end of the day, we're there. All right. But anyway, this kind of charts filled in, kind of show you where we're at, and we'll see. Hopefully, once this is wrapped up, the time we get preliminary. Sam, do we have a date on preliminary?
June.
Yeah.
First week in June. Give or take.
Yeah.
I thought the report looked very good. Looks like, I mean, there was only a couple of grades that didn't progress from the first to the second, and most of them were pretty close to goals. So over the years, they've done a great job of better predicting of what's going on. So hopefully that transitions into the STAR goals. And if it does, the district's going to be in very good shape. So good job. Proud of you. Questions or comments? All right.
Can we go back to security? We didn't have a report in our board package.
No.
Well, Chief?
No. I thought he said he
Mr.
had
Miller.
one.
Who wants that?
Chief doesn't do that. Mr. Miller does it.
Yeah, Mr. Miller.
Oh, the one you signed too? Oh, okay.
I give it to him, and I think he puts it.
Gotcha.
He gets,
I thought you said something was in there, but it wasn't in there. That's okay. That's fine.
it's that same letter that I signed that Mr. Miller has.
Okay.
Nothing big to report off that you have?
About the only thing I can remember us talking about is the drug dog showing up, right?
Yeah, the dog showed up. We have one report with a direct file assault case. That was a direct file for the DA's office. That was all we had. And then we had $125 payout in Crime Stoppers.
Quarterly investment report?
We have interest this year at the end of the third quarter was 1.8 million. Of that, 1.3, right at 1.4 is from the bond. We're still getting about a little over 4% in interest. And most of our money is still with Texas class because they pay the most.
Rates are holding up well.
They'll probably stay there for a little bit too. What it looks like, maybe we'll go back up a little.
We don't have to pay a tariff on those, do we? Financial report?
Okay. The financial report, we're at 75% for the year. Our expenditures for general fund is about 72%. We have a few that are over, but we still have about, like I said before, we're still right at about $400,000 under budget, under the expense budget. Our revenues are still coming in a little slow on the state programs and on SHARs. Also, for this, does anybody have any questions on the financials?
I have a question. So some of them, it says they're like at 144.47%, so clearly they're over. But those numbers aren't being on some of them they are. But so for the end of the year, do these still have monies they need, like do they have things they need to spend on, or like, do you know what I'm saying? Like not everything goes throughout the whole year. Are
Right.
these things over? Are they gonna go further over is my question.
They could.
Oh.
They could. Like
Well,
the
instruction-
JJAEP, the tuition we pay for kids that are going to alternative schools, that could go up depending on how many kids we have going to that school.
I mean,
We don't have any there now. They've all been released. Come back home.
But yes, they can go over.
But then it's likely that some of these won't go up to their 100% either, right?
Right.
What would be 64, I can't use XX, what other operating expenses, what kind of stuff is that?
Just trying to think of a good example. Electricity, utilities, things like that.
We're definitely gonna spend some more on that.
Yeah.
I can
Maintenance.
turn the lights off.
All of that, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
One more. What is local and intermediate resources under special revenue funds? 200 to 499, that's 309% over.
That's our federal.
So that comes in and goes out.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Another packet you had in there,
So there's this document, it's stapled kind of thick, says e-finance, HR at the top. Looks like this. It's from Julie, did you ever info? Got it?
so we started looking at other financing packages because of just some of the issues we had with the finance of controls not being in place, from keeping errors from happening, like in payroll. We started looking at systems that everything that we do, like our HR, payroll, student service, everything could be on one package. And so we looked at two different ones, Ascender and Skyward. And so what I am presenting to y'all here is the one from Skyward. We already use them for our student services, and we would like to move our accounting over to them. I want to kind of draw, you see at the top what we're paying for e-finance, for our HR and finance, and then for them hosting us in the cloud, and then what we pay for applicant tracking and records, which is our employees' records. And we pay, this year, coming up, we're gonna pay $65,000 for those systems. I'm gonna jump down to like 2027. At the bottom, you can see for that same type thing, we would be paying about just under 23,000 plus 5,000 for hosting. So we would save about $40,000 to move a year. Now, of course, at the beginning, you have upfront costs just to get you going. And so that's what you'll see in 25, 26, where you'll see, what it's gonna cost to get started, the initial investment. They gave us two options. I gave you their contracts to show you. One of them was where you paid an initial investment of $58,700, and then your yearly reoccurring fees would be about $21,000. And then the other one was that you paid nothing up front for your initial investment, but you paid $33,000 a month. So I kind of gave you a spreadsheet to show that after about 5 years, you've made back your initial investment, and then you continue to save money. That's your difference column on this sheet right here, that you would save by go ahead and paying an initial investment of the 58 and not going with no initial investment. It costs you more in the long run.
The upfront cost would be the 58,000?
The initial investment, what they call initial investment, is 58, on the contract I would go with, is the 58,000. Now, you still have their services of 103, And that's just to set your system up to get all of your walkthrough, all your systems set up to where it works properly, where all of our stuff that we do manual now, like doing budget transfers, budget amendments, it would be all computerized. It would be all electronic. And they come in, it takes about a year. They'll start, we wouldn't go live on this until April of next year because it would take them that long to get everything set up. They just walk you through step by step through it and do the training, get you set up.
Is training on site?
We'll have, I think we have 8 hours on, 8 days on site, but then we have a lot of webinars and things that that we would go through. And then we also will have a training base that we go in and train on to learn it over the next 10 months.
So the initial cost is when we sign up?
Yes, the initial cost, the services you see, if you look at the contract, the 103,600, that's the service to get us started. They're gonna let us break that out in 3 years. Pay them 40% when we sign up, 40% July 1st, 20% the following year. The initial investment, I kind of talked to him about, if you look at the one that has the initial investment, that is a student-based, it's just, you pay $21,000 a year. The other one is a 3-year contract, and so for 3 years, they'll guarantee your fees, but you pay more, and you'll ultimately pay more with that contract. So I just wanted y'all to see the difference, but ultimately, I really feel like the one where you have that initial investment, even though that's hard for us to swallow the initial investment, I think it's gonna pay off through the next, 10 years. He did say that their costs go up, he says anywhere from 4 to 5% a year, so that I kind of put that I did 5% to show you over the next 10 years what the cost would be. And we're still saving from e-finance, on a yearly basis, $40,000. And we have everything in one place with one company. And what I like about Skyward is that everything that they do is in-house. It's just their systems. And Power School, what they've done, e-finance, is they bought an applicant tracking, and they try to integrate it into their system. And they'll buy HR, and they don't make their own, they just try to integrate it. And I think that's has caused us a lot of problems. The one thing I liked about Skyward, there was a lot I liked about it. I went in thinking I wasn't gonna like it because I had talked to Meadville, to their accounting person. She didn't like their reporting. But when they actually showed us what they did, like in December when we had the issue come up with the TRS not being withheld, they showed us, not knowing that had happened, they showed us a payroll. And when they got ready to process it, it came up with red letters in a person's name, and it says, alert, TRS is not being withheld. And so you knew before you processed there was a problem. And that kind of sold me right there. But that was just one of the things that they had that was, they just had a lot more controls in place to keep you from making mistakes than what we have with e-finance.
So these figures, do they include the yearly licenses?
That is, the yearly license is what you're seeing where it says upfront cost.
It's total drive-out for everything, right? There's nothing else associated.
No, one thing I don't have on here, and that's I have it, the hosting. If you look at the contract, they have they say the hosting is $3,000 a year. That's for their bottom line hosting. I wanted the $5,000 because it gives us a training base. So if we're trying to see if we implement something new, we can go into training. Or if we're doing a year-end close that we only do once a year, we can go to training and play with it, make sure we're doing it right before we actually go and do it live. And you get that if you just go up, which the same thing that eFinance has, you can see is $13,000 for hosting, and theirs is only $5,000. And they do about 320 schools in Texas. I think Bay City uses them for their finance. Angleton didn't use the cumulative, they just used the old version. But Needville also, they use the new version, and I think Sweeney uses the new version of the accounting part of it. But that would have us having our accountant, our student, everything into one system.
So the numbers here don't factor in what you already pay for e-finance that wouldn't be paid.
That another thing, we will have to pay for both of
For
them
1
the
year.
first year. So our e-finance,
You said till April.
right, so e-finance renews for us, for applicant tracking, it renews July 1st. For e-finance, it renews August 31st. So we would renew with them August 31st, and then in April, when we go live, they would be running consecutively, and then we just would not renew with them in August of 2026.
That'll be a pinch for a while.
It will. It will.
But no matter when you cross over, you're still
You're
gonna
gonna have to do
that over.
yes. So, because you don't want to stop one
No.
and start the other and just shut it down. You want to make sure things
Probably
are working.
can't, I guess.
Infrastructure wise, we're good to go for on the infrastructure side?
Yes.
Yeah, this will be all hosted, so we won't have a server for it. One thing I like about Skyward is it integrates with our systems really well. E-finance right now, you have to enter in the new employee, and then you enter it into Skyward, and then we have to enter it into our system. It'll be entered in one time and then sync through all the systems. So that makes it a lot easier on our end.
So I'm confused because to get started is 103.6, the initial investment is 58.719, right?
Right.
But then down on the 2025, it says upfront cost of 162. I mean, it's not much difference. Is that supposed to symbolize those two numbers up there? Is that something different?
It should be, I went back and looked at this again, it should be the 41,440, the 58,000, and then the 21,000 to get the first yearly cost to get started. And it's kind of prorated. Plus the hosting
That's
cost.
110. That's 162.
Well, I went in and on 2025, I did the first 4140 because we have to do that. If we sign up with them tomorrow, we have to pay the 4140. And then 7/1, we have to pay 4140 again. So I felt like I included both of those years.
Okay, so
The 80,000 plus the
you're looking more at
58.
those three numbers there. When I look at page 5, it talks about the 58.719. It talks about 103.6, and it's got first year recurring of 20,503. On page 5?
Yes.
Are we paying, do we have to pay that 20,503 when we sign up? Or does that start next year?
That will start with, I think, in October. Once they get the system in and we work through some of our processes and get some of our stuff in, then we start training. Once that system's available for us to start training, we start paying it. We will only pay it from a prorated rate from October through July 1st because I wanted our contracts to run July 1st to July 1st.
So it's April and we're presenting this. When's go time?
It will be April of next year.
No, okay, I know, but I mean, to let them know so that they're
I'll let
ready.
them know tomorrow that we will start working through signing
So
contracts.
to be able to get ready to be live July 1, what's your?
July 1 or 26 or 25?
25, excuse me. So to be able to, like, when we start July 1 to have, right? Is that what we're looking at?
No.
Okay.
July 1 of 2026?
2025?
No. We will
It's
not.
going to take them until 26
It will take them
to get,
1 year to get us
April of
set up.
26 is when it would crank up.
I understand that, but when do you need them active? That's what I'm asking.
When do we need them
If we don't approve this till July 1st,
Oh.
can they still get you up and going by April of next year?
I don't know. He did this based on right now their capabilities of what they have available. So
I mean, me
would have
personally, it's hard
ask
to
them.
look at something like this until we have a better feel on the budget, which I think they've passed some stuff. I'm sure we're going to discuss it sometime tonight or in close, but you know. So I don't know.
So tell me again, if we sign the contract tomorrow, what would we owe? 41,440?
We would owe 41,440, the 58,719, and the 5,000 hosting to start.
So tonight's a report item, right?
It is.
Tonight's a report item. You have to approve this. We don't meet till May. So that's what I was, you know, I mean, this is just the first meeting. It's not the end, I mean, right? Because it has to come back in the May meeting.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
By then you'll have some idea what the budget looks like and it'll be a lot easier to address it. Because then you're gonna turn around if you pay that May 1st or May, whatever the meeting day, 14th, then on July 1st, you're gonna pay another 41,400 for that. I'll get you to the 162. So in year two, the 42,000?
That is the remaining $20,000 of the 103, the 27.
20,503 for the first year of service?
Yes.
Okay. And then the third year, 27, is when you're actually just paying the annual cost that is. And you just projected the 20,503 at 5% each year.
Each year, just to see what it would be.
On your e-finance, is that a fixed cost of 65, or does that go up every year
That goes
also?
up every year.
Okay.
And in fact, on this e-finance, the 35,242, that doesn't include a student activity, and it doesn't include our fixed assets. I took them off because we had not been using them, so I'm not renewing them coming up. So the cost of this actually would be closer to about 72,000 if we had have left them on there.
Do you have those features underneath Skyward, or?
They're all included. I mean, the cost savings shocked me on what it cost. I even would call him back and say, okay, I want to make sure this is all included because it was such a significant cost difference.
And I'm assuming you do use those things, you do something to account for those records that you didn't use under e-finance.
The asset, right now, we use QuickBooks for our student activities, and we use an Excel spreadsheet for our fixed assets. It's not in e-finance. We've always had the module, they just never used it. The student activities, we started, but we couldn't ever get, well, for 2 years, they couldn't tell us why it wouldn't work. And they ended up refunding us the money for those 2 years. And we were moving forward to get it set up, but we had to, they sold us something we couldn't use with what we had from them. And so we finally figured out what it was. We were moving forward with it when we started talking about wanting everything under one company. And so I just didn't renew it this year.
So the board to look at it next month.
From our standpoint, it's a have to, right? And that's kind of why we're presenting it. It's a have to. You know, we've talked about some of the mistakes we've had. Your software is supposed to help you, and our software right now is just not helping us, right? And we've had that software since when? That was
at least 20.
Yeah, I was going to say that was picked by
Dan.
a previous superintendent and a previous CFO, right? And I'm sure it was state of the art then, but it's not now.
E-finance does have issues. They're losing a lot of people. They're losing them to Skyward. I went to a Region 6 meeting the other day, and there were 2 other people in there with e-finance who were moving away just because of the issues like we've had, that they didn't have controls in place that kept things from happening. Not that, because humans can make mistakes, and their software I'm sure could too, but they have controls in place that we just don't have available through e-finance.
All right.
One last thing under finances, I did, there's a 3-page stapled in your maroon binder. On the front of it, at the very top says House Bill 2, almost $8 billion in new funding for public schools. So this is just a handout. So tomorrow will be a big day in the Texas House of Representatives. House Bill 2, which is the education funding bill, goes to the floor tomorrow. So probably by this time tomorrow night, we'll kind of know the lay of the land and what's happening. At the front is kind of the highlights of House Bill 2. You can go through there, raises the basic allotment, and so on and so forth. One of the things I do want to take your attention to that will kind of change things about halfway down, it says requires the commissioner to adjust school districts' enrollment in ADA for each 6 weeks interval instead of waiting till settle up. When we're in budget conversations, you hear about that. We predict, we do it, they pay us through the year, and then at the end of the year, they either overpay or underpay us, and we either have to pay it back or they give us more, right? Well, what this legislation would do would fix that, meaning that your payouts every 6 weeks would have to be adjusted, which means now, instead of submitting that enrollment data and attendance data at the end of the year, we will be submitting the actual live. So that's going to change the process. That's going to change some things there. Meaning we have to be right? Right now, we're kind of in a situation where we have it, we get a chance to fix it, It's not important right now. Next year, if this passes, it will be important every day. Then a little bit further down, it says prohibit school district from employing uncertified teachers in foundation courses. Exceptions are allowed for courses other than reading and math. So since we are a district of innovation, one of the things that would happen is that it would require a Texas state certificate, or SBEC, State Board of Education Certification certificate. Right now, we may have somebody that has an EC through 6 degree teaching 7th grade math. And we've DOI'd them because they did a great job in 5th grade math, and so we've got them teaching 7th grade math. That's a DOI that we're allowed to do right now. If this passes, you can see that by 2026, we couldn't have more than 20% of teachers, and then it goes down to basically where you're taking that away. DOIs will still be available, but they would put a limit on what you would be able to do. And so there is a push there. As you can see, as of right now, it's kind of linked to reading and math, meaning, the financial advisor we have teaching Money Matters would be okay. So just want to bring that to your attention. So if you turn the page, the next 2 pages are basically was the first House run that we were shared from Oak and Casey of House Bill 2. Since there has been a committee substitute put in place, and then before this hits the floor in the morning, or when it hits the floor in the morning, there's going to be another amendment that's going to make some changes. So I will take you to the very last page, and if you can see, I've written some things down. If you look under the 25-26 school year, the summary data shows that, and our numbers are off a little bit, meaning our ADA and stuff, so this is not exactly perfect. But the expectation was that the difference would be $1.8 million to the district, meaning it would raise our revenue per ADA $692. So for the first time ever, there were some reports yesterday that hit the news that said that the Texas House or the legislature is not putting out financial runs for districts, because this is coming to the floor and they normally have their financial runs. Well, they haven't. Chairman Buckley put out information that says that the individual reps could come by his office and pick up a run of their districts. And so it's kind of, why is this happening? Why is this happening? First time ever. So shortly after that came out, I did get a text message from Cody Vasut last night, and he texted me what I've written in red right there, that committee substitute that's going to hit the floor, or that amendment that's going to hit the floor tomorrow when this goes, CBISD, that number instead of being 1.8 would be 2.6, meaning it would raise our ADA from 692 to 996 ADA. So,
does this number include anything for the increase in safety and all that other stuff? Is this just straight?
No, this is straight ADA off of this.
Okay.
So what's happened is, we've talked about SHARS funding, the SHARS funding we lost. There's a separate bill to make up for SHARS funding. That would be an addition. There's a safety, a bill to increase the safety allotment. that would be in addition to all of this. And so we don't know tomorrow if this gets, as soon as this gets voted on tomorrow, then we will get the runs and we'll be able to identify what was in, what was out, and what those extras are. But Cody's text didn't say what they are. He just said there's other funding available outside of this that will be coming as well.
I'm glad to see it. When you sent us the Friday letter and talked about the 1.8 and 1.7, we were still in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Because you said, I mean, when you take out what you have to do with raises, that was 700,000, leaves us first year $1.1 million. She had $1.2 million when we met, but we also looked at Mo Kincaid solar project. That was additional 600 short. We was about $1.8 million. So I mean, you were 600,000 still short based off the $1.8 million. Going into the next year, 700,000 in raises carries over, so you only had $1 million to work with in your.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wasn't looking good from what those numbers look like. There's still going to be a lot of cuts. If we do the 2.6 and 2.8, the district will be in a lot better shape.
Yeah.
But you said it's an amendment, so.
It's an amendment that's going to hit the floor that will change it to the numbers.
So
Cody,
right.
Yeah. Meaning that amendment's going to get added before it ever gets voted on. So
passes.
Chairman Buckley's the one that adds, yes. Now, there's a chance it could pass the House. I don't see it not happening, but.
They like us.
So after it passes the House, then the Senate passes this one, or the Senate has their own bill, then that's when they match.
The Senate has already passed their funding bill, which only and so read the tea leaves, they only put money in teacher raises, right? Meaning they didn't spend a whole lot of time on the education budget, but they did spend a whole lot of time on the voucher bill, which is their SB1, I believe. So if you read the tea leaves, the Senate taking over, right, whenever it gets done, the voucher bill will be a Senate bill, and the funding for raises and stuff is going to be a House bill.
Okay.
That's the way I see it. But yes, both of those, if it passes, it has to go to conference committee with the Senate, come out, go back to both, and then go to governor's desk to become and get signed. Right. So again, the voucher bill is separate than this. All right. Voucher bill don't make it. Does he sign this one if it passes? So there's still a lot of politics at base.
So the voucher bill is, what is it saying as far as if a student leaves here and goes? You said it's a thing, and the Christian Center is going to open the school back up apparently. So if we have 100 students that go over there, then do we lose 100 times 10,000 out of our revenue?
We lose the ADA, 100. We lose whatever the ADA is.
Okay.
Anyway, just want to give that. Pay attention to politics tomorrow. It's a big day in the House. That's all I got.
All right. Next would be bond report.
Things are looking good, progressing. We're talking about the end right now. Had a construction meeting today. We're talking about the end, and so everything's going really, really well. If you have any specific questions about anything, I'd be more than happy to answer those. Otherwise, I do have an updated bond report in your maroon folder.
I'll say this out loud. Thank you for dating that. So many things that we get doesn't have a date on it, and when I keep them, I'm like, I don't know what's.
Yeah, I do that for me. So I do it by board meeting. So I dated that 4/15 one. So starting tomorrow, the one I work on will be 5/20. So anyway, just laying this out again. That first column, 100%. Those are budget numbers. The yellow is budget slack, meaning that's what I'm kind of keeping out, because I think there could be things we give us the money to address things as we move forward.
Like you're saying contingency, basically.
Yes, yeah. Meaning if it doesn't get used, it will flow into the green. The green's what I'm telling you, I think is going to be left at the end of the day. All right, so when you add up the budget slack, which I call it, is a little over 1.4. The additional that I think is going to be there is going to be 6.2. Again, the 2.277 is the variance between the original and what we approved as the 100% construction budget. As of interest at the end of March, that's the 3.1. When When you add all that up, gives you a total of 11.6 that I think will be available to be used, meaning I've still kept out the 1.4 in yellow. It's not included yet, could come back. The 332, 303 is what's left in the junior high bond, which gives you that 11.9 total. We did pass the $4 million for the West Columbia and West Brazos Junior High roofing project, which I'm telling you, it looks to me going to be about 7.9 left. And then whatever's left out of the yellow. And then by that time, anything in the construction budget line items that's not used, that will flow back to us at the end of that as well. Kind of what Mr. Shane Payne was talking to about in the last meeting is using that 2.277 and the 3.1. That's kind of the number that you could consider available, and you've used $4 million of that total, which gives you 1 point something left. If you wanted to say you could use it. So, as of right now, we're kind of in that holding pattern. We've got other projects we're talking about, but those are in the planning phases. We're not ready to pull a trigger on those things yet, right? So, just as a reminder at the bottom, the CHS band hall renovation has been taken out of this. The district security upgrade we did last week for Verkada cameras, district ride is there. If you can see over here to Columbia, I've sent you pictures of the Columbia High School EFS, which is that C building exterior that's getting taken care of. That's already in the numbers. The HVAC piping, so that when we turn the new HVAC on, we don't blow something out in the building. That's already taken care of, as well as you do have two other things on the agenda tonight: the district phone upgrade and the district radio transportation and campus upgrade is for safety communication. Those numbers are already taken out of the yellow and included in the yellow as well. Okay. So meaning, if you did pass those numbers wouldn't change. If you didn't pass them, then those numbers would go back into the yellow and it would increase. Okay. The other projects I have down there too, from Wild Peach Water Well all the way to, we have two things that came on the list this week, which would be the marching band tower and transportation mechanic bus lift, and then of course scoreboards and marquees and stuff that we've talked about for a while.
So are we?
But the scoreboards are in the bond package, aren't they, or is that outside of it?
They're outside of it.
Oh, I misunderstood you before that.
No.
So are we going to go ahead and replace the marching band tower?
We'll talk about it. I was going to give you some suggestions. Yeah.
Okay.
So on the interest of the bond, it shows 3.124 million through the March 20. On your investment report, it shows 1.4. So is that your investment?
That's for this year.
That's just for this year. So the others would be from last year. Okay. Is that for the first quarter? 1 quarter? Your investment report. Your investment report that you turned in.
That's through the third quarter, through March 31st.
Yeah.
Of this year.
For just 1 quarter. Or is that through the whole year up there?
Through the whole year, this year.
Okay.
This school year, budget year.
Okay, yeah, since July through the 31st. Let's do that now. Okay.
So when they print it out to me, I have 2024 number and a 2025 number, and I just have them.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to be sure. Okay. Questions, comments? Next, we have the annual report on training hours for individual board members. I think the law requires me to read it out. So our Board of Trustees 24-25 training hours: James Broussard 13.5 hours, Jonathan Champagne 7.25 hours, Becky Danford 10.25 hours, Jackie Gocher 14.5 hours, Linda Hebner 17.5 hours, Greg Cresta 17.5 hours, and Ray Sisson 12.75 hours. Which from my understanding, everybody met their requirement for hours this year. Next, we'll go to the action items. And the first is to approve the proposal engagement letter for 25-26 audit services.
Okay, so we did go out for bid. Jonathan asked me to go out for bid, so you have a,
In your moving folder, there's a one-page.
it's a one-pager.
Yeah.
It's just the grading system of the 4 people who
Looks like
who
this.
bid.
Landscape.
how does the proposal compare to what we currently pay?
The same thing, they didn't go up
They didn't
this
go
year.
up? Okay.
They did not. And he actually, it said attached engagement letter, but since they put in the bid before I got the signed engagement letter, I wanted to make sure y'all saw the different fees from each company. Of course, the rating's subjective. That's why I put it in your packet. I do feel like that, Whitley Penn, they're nationwide, so they were, of course, more expensive with $60,000. The other two were more in line with what we were paying. Singleton Clark and Company, sorry, typo. They're pretty small. It looked like just a couple people working on it. And the next closest one was Patella Brown and Hill. They would be the one I would put up against Kennemer Master, but I do feel like Kennemer Master for us is the way to go. One, they're local. Two, they know our district. They know how we work. And the last few years, we've really worked well together on them. They didn't have as much audit experience, but they have the most with us, and I feel like that they're a good fit for us. Their fees are really in line, kind of right in the middle of the two closest to them, so I didn't feel like that they were overpriced either.
Thank you for going out, and it list shows us that, we are looking at that. I think Kennemer Master's done a great job over the years here. They are a local firm. They do have a lot of employees that live in our district. There's no questions or comments. I make a motion, we approve Kennemer Master in Luxford for engagement audit. Second by Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Approve summer school 25?
Ms. Fowler, anything? I'll cover it right quick.
Sure. So we have our typical summer school that we're offering, the ESY for elementary and special education. We're offering our English as a second language classes for our incoming kindergarten and first grade. We will be offering our accelerated instruction to grades 3 through 8 for those students who do not pass STAR. And we will also offer EOC for high school students that do not pass STAR, tutoring for them. We also will have credit recovery this summer, and the locations and the times and our budget is attached.
And it's already budgeted, right? The
Yes.
expense is already budgeted.
Yes.
So it's just letting you know.
Yes.
Questions or comments? I'll make a motion, we approve the summer school 2025 plan.
I'll second.
Second by Becky, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Next is the consider approval student catastrophic coverage for 25-26.
This is the same company we've used every year, and basically what it is that we pay about $2,800 a year for it, and it allows our students to buy coverage if they're hurt playing sports or whatever. They can buy coverage.
And that's optional?
It's optional for them.
Do we have many people that actually take coverage?
You know what? Honestly, I don't know. I need to find that out.
You beat me to that, but I was curious.
I don't know. It all goes through mostly the athletic department, so I need to ask Connie that.
So we pay the $2,200 and then the kids have to pay some of it too?
No, they pay for their own policy.
They pay for their own
Yeah.
policy.
What does the 2268 get? It's just the right for them to be able to offer it?
Yeah. That's relatively inexpensive, right? The kids can.
Yeah, for like $25.
Yeah, they can make $25. Yep.
But it is a good question.
I do need to see how many people buy it.
Could you just let us know or let Stephen know to give it to us? Because if we just have one, it's kind of,
That's true.
Yeah.
we didn't just because we had insurance on.
But if I remember right, I mean, it covers something like during the school day as well, right?
Mhm.
Not just in an athletic
Right, it's
event.
not just athletics,
Yeah.
it's coverage for it.
Right.
Yeah.
From a board's perspective, how many students do you think should have to select it for us to justify spending $2,300?
Say over 10.
Yeah, definitely over 10.
Okay.
I mean, because it's really gonna help out for kids whose families don't have insurance at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If they buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
But we also don't want to have it if we don't need it.
Yeah, I mean,
if
if
no
we
one's
paid
buying it.
$2,300 and nobody got it, then,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a waste.
I don't think we've ever known how many people
Yeah.
have gotten it before, so it'd be interesting to find out.
So you'll approve with the caveat that we have more than 10 students that signed up for it. If they have less, you'll look at it again next month?
Well, I tell you what, I would approve it. Just because you approve it don't mean we sign the letter. Right, just prove it based on, us finding out if,
Okay.
just prove it that way. And if we find that it doesn't meet that qualification, then we just won't do it.
Okay. Y'all good with that? Okay. I'll make a motion and we'll approve the catastrophic coverage, with those caveats. James, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Consider approval and addition of District Transportation and Safety Communication Radio System to the Columbia High School to the Columbia High School bond project.
Meaning you would add
Coming
it
from that.
Yeah, it would come
You're
in
adding
from
it
that.
to
You're
it.
adding it to the scope of the project, so. Josh, you want to cover that right quick for us?
Yeah, so we're looking at going to a cellular platform for the radios. Right now, it's currently connected to our network, and we did get a quote from Bearcom for that.
Cody, can you bring that thing up, because I don't have it at their board table. They need to see it.
sir.
So the first line item, Nexcom, is the one that we're looking at. We've gotten demo units from them. And the good thing about this is you can use it outside the area that we have right now. We have 2 repeaters at the moment, one at West Columbia PD and then one at Support Center. So we're only able to use the radios within that range. This will allow you to use it anywhere. If you were to travel to Houston on a bus, you can still communicate with them. So it picks up on cell towers. It uses all cell towers in the location, so it's not tied to one specific carrier. So if a Verizon tower is down, it's going to jump to an AT&T tower. So you got Nexcom, school radio, and then the Bearcom Wave. Those all use cell towers. And the cost difference on that is for hardware. If you're looking at Bearcom Wave, they charge you up front for all the new radios. So you're looking at $98,000 just for new radios. And then the school radio, they charge $3,500 for the new radios, whereas Nexcom, they give you those radios if you sign a 6-year contract with them. So we were looking at 6-year contracts on all items. We also looked at microwave networks they'll build a network for us that doesn't rely on our network. And so the issue we ran into with that is we need a 100-foot tower. The tower we currently have at Support Center is not tall enough. And to build a 100-foot tower, you're looking at $40,000 to $50,000 to do that. So looking over everything, I did a lot of research. I just kept coming back to Nexcom. The cost is the best cost that I could find. And then you get 2 months free out of the year. So they give you 2 months off because they know we have summer. So we're not going to be using the radios as much. Now, if we did use the radios, more frequently in the summer, they would charge us for it. But I spoke with Ray. He said there's no way they'll be using that amount. So we do get 2 months free with them. And the total cost for 6 years is $113,000. You know, that's a big savings compared to going with any of the other ones.
So they monitor your usage?
Right.
Are we limited in any way doing the other 10 months?
We're not limited in the 10 months because we're paying for it. The usage would be monitored in those 2 months because they're given to us for free.
Yeah.
You can use it at a limited, I think it's 2 radios.
Okay. And I would assume this microwave networks, even if we built a tower, you're still just limited to your network. If we went to Houston or wherever, once you're out of line of sight or whatever you're going, I guess.
Once you're out of the range, you can't use it. Where Nextcom, they use cell towers, so you have signal everywhere.
Are the Nextcom radios covered? Do that 6 years, something breaks,
They're full warranty, so if anything, you know, they don't replace physical damage.
Right.
But if they malfunction or stop working, they'll replace them. So normal wear and tear will be.
Is it like a cellular phone? Is that what it?
No,
or is it actually like a?
It looks just like a radio. Yep. So they use the same concept. Everyone that uses the radios now wouldn't notice the difference.
Do they like use cigarette light adapters on the bus to charge them, or do they stay charged?
They stay charged on the buses, and then the handheld ones that the schools have, they'll have a docking station.
Okay, so the bus will be a permanent, like a CB radio type of radio.
I thought we were looking at ordering all.
Yeah, we could. That's what we talked about. Also doing all handhelds. So we would just have a docking station that they would dock them once they're done using them.
Meaning our bus routes are
Right.
3 hours, they come back in, dock, charge it. I mean, we should be fine. Our only issue would be if we went on a Trover night trip, right?
Right.
They could take it, but they could take a charger with them.
Yeah, they can get a charger. It would just take a standard charger.
Maybe get some extra batteries. They have detachable batteries on those.
Yeah. If I remember right, Ray said that like when you get it, comes with a package, you get like the car charger.
Yeah, it's like a cell phone. It's boxed up, has a charger, everything with it. So it does come with all that.
But yeah, for one of the safety things is talking with Ray, we're not going to do the install. We're going to do the handheld. They did fine on all the tests with the buses, right?
Yeah.
Is that if we did have an emergency like like Sweeney had, we would have 65 radios in the district that we could go get and use in that kind of situation, right? From a multi-factor type thing, that's just a nice backup to be able to have.
And again, they also have an application feature where you can put the application on your phone, and then when they're communicating through the radio channel, you would get the notification for it. So those are additional add-ons that you can do.
So 65 radios, how many would be on, we don't have 65 buses.
40.
40, so the other 25 would be like with administrators and
Yeah,
things?
5 at each campus and then 40 on the buses.
Okay. And so the 113,100 is what you asked to come out of bond, so we wouldn't have a payment for 6 years on this.
That's correct.
And it's a 6-year contract, you said?
So you strictly use these radios for travel, when you're traveling?
Communications, whenever they're,
Campuses will use them every day.
Whenever the buses are out and Linda calls and says, hey, is my kid on the bus? She didn't get home. They can look,
In a previous conversation where we had about, using the cell phone, what was that on? That was security too, wasn't it?
Well,
what was that was a while back.
campuses have radios, right now.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like we said, they get in a bus in Missouri, transportation, and they don't know till they get here within this cell tower range that the system's down. Right? There's no check, there's no balance, there's no test until you get here and get in the range of this repeater.
That's our current system.
That's our current system. What we said is that Ray would say that the only way if that's down, if they have a cell phone, he has to call. But that's what we were talking about was handheld. Ray was saying, talking about having it installed in the bus. And my conversation is he and I had the conversation about getting the individual radios yet. And we were talking about what's the difference of reaching down and grabbing the horn to talk on or grabbing the radio to talk on. And so the next day, he started calling districts that use this, and they're using the individual radios. Because when you come with the install into the bus, it comes with an install price, but you also have other mechanical issues that could cause problems too as well. So it's easier just to do that, right? It's more functional. Right.
And if we do swap over to Nextcom, we will save $125 per month that we pay for internet at the West Columbia PD. So that cost will go away. We pay Brightspeed for that.
But the other deal is, if bus 140, if bus 140's down, we just take another radio.
Right.
But if the radio's installed on bus 140, it's down.
You don't have a radio.
Right.
Sneaky kid takes the
Yeah,
radio.
well, that's gonna be that's its own issue, right?
But with people being used to carrying cell phones, I think that will probably be an issue. Losing them, breaking,
Also,
dropping them,
from that,
breaking
You
them.
have to evacuate the bus. You can take the radio with you.
Yeah. Pluses outweigh them.
I agree with
For sure.
Questions or comments?
I think it's good.
I do too. Especially when it gives us,
Flexibility.
right now, we go to Belleville to play a football game, we're dead to them. You're relying on someone's personal cell phone, which I don't like the district having to do that with people. We need to provide something. So. I make a motion, we approve the proposal of Nextcom, the 6-year contract out of using the bond project money for the radio system. Second by Ray, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Next is the district phone communication system at Columbia Heights. Whoop, that's wrong.
Okay, Cody, if you'll work on getting that up, and then Josh, you wanna
So right now,
take us through that?
we use Mitel IP phones. Those are the handsets in every classroom, every office. And that allows communication between the classrooms. You can call outside also.
Get the right.
Go down to the
Yeah. Like, should be on the score, yeah.
Of course. But these phones allow communication between, staff and then to call outside. And then they also use these for bells. So any of the bell system will play through the phones. Right now, the issue is Mitel. So Mitel, we're kind of unsure where they're going to go as a company. They may be going out of business completely, or they may be getting bought out. Our handsets that we currently have, they go into life in 2027, and we're looking at buying new phones for the high school. So taking all that into account, we need to look at replacing all handsets throughout the entire district. So I went through the list and I looked at Dialpad, Momentum, and BTEL. Dialpad is Google phone. They're also IP phones. They'll work just like what we have. Momentum is Teams phones. So it does the same. All three of these do the exact same thing that we have now. The benefit to them, they're also hosted, so we don't have a server anymore, so we can cut costs on server. The best price that I came across was BTEL. They do everything that we have now, and they're significantly less than the others. So you're looking at about $250,000 for 10 years. That's a 10-year contract with them. Whereas the others, you're looking at close to $500,000, $600,000. And the reason for that price jump is because the big company names like Microsoft and Google, they're really the only ones out there right now. So handset costs, they're about the same price, but the service cost is where you're gonna see the biggest increase on. And then the one-time service cost, BTEL is not gonna charge us anything for that, and it's all hosted at BTEL. So, if we have any issues, we can call BTEL, they'll help us out with it. There's no server involved, they host everything for us. And, one thing I like about BTEL is customer service. Anytime I need anything, I can call them and they come right over and help. So that's what I'm leaning towards, and that's what I would prefer to go with. And that would get us set for 10 years.
So from a cost standpoint, what disappears out of the budget
So right now we're paying $15,000 a year for our MyTel service.
That's yearly support for that?
Right, yearly support for that. If we look at, we do have to upgrade all phones, so you're looking at $250, $300 a phone, so you're looking close to $250,000 to replace all handsets, and then of course the yearly cost. So it's very close to what BTEL's offering us. And then of course, you know, to take into account, you want to take into account a server cost also.
Yeah.
Which is.
I was gonna say, Mr. Galloway in his Friday letter said that this would be roughly a $70,000 savings
Right.
out of the technology part. What makes up that $70,000?
So you're looking at server cost, you're gonna drop that, you know, between, it just depends on its usage. So you're looking at 5,000 to 8,000 a year, and then you got 15,000 for the actual.
MyTel.
70,000 over a year or over 10 years?
Yearly.
Yearly.
And then one big item also is, right now, we have Brightspeed. So in West Columbia, we use Brightspeed for our MyTel phones to call out local and long distance. So with that, with the broadband for the radios and then the phone lines that we use here, we have a couple of phone lines for fire alarms. We've paid from July to now $55,000. That entire bill will go away once we swap over for the radios and to BTEL.
What about current contract? Current contract right now, we're gonna have to get out. We got one now or not?
No contract with them.
We're not gonna have a penalty or nothing?
No penalties on that.
That was one of the deals, is that we're outside of the warranty period. If we do need help, right, you start by the time they get in their car somewhere in North Houston, and, you know.
So you said you paid $55,000 to Brightspeed, that's for your local call-in and your call feature, stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just to be clear, on BTEL's proposal, that's gonna be 2,000 months, so that's 24,000 a year. So it's not a full 55,000 saving, it's 24 minus 55 or whatever that. So I just want to be transparent with the board on that side of it. I was under the impression last month when Mr. Gallagher presented it, we looked at this, that the monthly service was wrapped up in that 17,000 a month, and we wouldn't have any more monthly bills each month. But that's not the case. That's for support and for the phone purchase. We still have a monthly local service,
The
but
monthly local service is completely separate. We'll continue to pay that. Whether we went with BTEL or Dialpad or Momentum, we would still pay this to BTEL. This is for
just these costs right here.
So what are we paying now to BTEL for the fiber?
We're paying for fiber. We're paying $6,000.
well, that's part of that's the actual internet
Right.
pipe, which is the $33,000. Currently, what they're paying is the top three numbers: the 574, the 1100, and the 312. That stays the same, and then you're adding all the phones because BTEL currently doesn't provide any phones. So that's what I'm saying. That $2,000 a month right there is what we're currently paying to Brightspeed on the other side. Do we currently pay BTEL that amount plus Brightspeed?
Yes.
So you're wiping out all of the
We're not be paying BTEL any more. We already got it, or we are be paying more?
What we paying monthly, right there, that cost is gonna stay the same.
It stays the same, so
It's
we're
in your
eliminating
contract.
Brightspeed because they will not have,
Oh, so
the
that
local dial tone would go out of Missouri, not out of West
So
Columbia.
that is a $55,000 savings.
So it will be a $55,000
Yeah.
savings. Or, yeah, you're right.
Right.
Not the
So,
difference.
I mean, go back to the cost page, Cody, for 10 years. So we're gonna pay $250,000 for 10 years, right? That's what we're saying, additional. But at the same time, we're taking out $70,000 out of the budget for 10 years. So when I add that up, that sounds like a great deal.
Yeah.
And you're getting all new phones. I
And you
think
get
it's
all new-
400 phones,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, 400 phones.
You know, for the phone, you're gonna be buying phones in 2 years anyway.
Right. Yeah, because the phones we have now, in 2 years, they will no longer work.
Well, they could, if they break, you just have no support to get them fixed.
Yeah, true.
That's a gamble you take.
True.
I wouldn't advise that gamble.
Yeah, and with
It would go out
MyTel-
whenever you have an emergency.
With MyTel going through its changes, it was just, it's not something, you know, I've been recommended to move away from them.
So just for everybody's clarification, if you remember from the last meeting, when we started going through this and we started looking at that, BTEL wasn't in our conversation. We were looking at these others because remember, they're packaging it now in a way that you can do the bond funds and do this and set yourself up. And we asked, hey, where does BTEL range in this? Do we even have? And so we were the ones that reached out and asked, hey, can you, I know you probably don't make a proposal this way, but this is the way everybody else is doing it. Can you put one together that matches this? And they worked with Josh to get it
I was
done.
originally looking at teams, and then we reached out to BTEL. I went over there, they gave me a huge demonstration, and it was great, so.
It's a no-brainer.
Definitely.
I agree. That. So
I'm
somebody else.
staying out of it. I will abstain from voting on this, so if it's something the board wants to do, I advise somebody else to make a
In
motion.
addition of district phone communication system to the Columbia High School bond project.
Second by James. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And show me as abstaining, please.
Thank y'all very much. Good business. We'll be in a good shape. Many years to come.
Call Brad first thing in the morning because Monday they were on a call and with tariffs, they're talking about the phones going up, so I think they're going to put them on the ads. They're supposed to go up 40% in 2 weeks.
All right, I'll give you a cell phone number right now.
You better jump on that. It's very.
Turn the microphone off. Consent agenda is to approve the minutes from the March 18th regular and the March 27th budget meeting, to approve budget amendment and donations, approve the property held for trust, and approve the agreement by and between CBISD and Swinney Community Hospital. Would anybody like any of those pulled?
Number one.
So number one pulled?
Yes.
Number one.
Okay. Greg, you make a motion for 2, 3, and 4?
True, yes.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Number one, what would you like?
Greg was left off.
There you go.
He was at the meeting and his name wasn't on there.
On which one?
On the March 18th meeting.
Yep.
And we'll forgive you since you give us these little treats every day.
Becky makes a motion to approve the approval minutes, subject to the change of Greg being added to the March 18th meeting.
I'll second.
Second by Ray. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Anything else for open? All right, before I adjourn, I want to thank y'all for all y'all have done for our district. I think we have the best administration team in the world probably. And thank you for all the support you've given me. I appreciate it very much. With that, we will adjourn to closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Opens Meeting Act, Section 551.9074, to consider the employment of professional personnel, discuss the resignation, retirement of professional personnel, discuss the performance of personnel, consider teacher, director, supervisor, administrative contracts. We'll reconvene in open and consider action on items discussed in closed. Thank y'all very much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
That's 6 years.